Last week in Submarine, after 3.5 years alongside and £200 million spent, Superb, her officers and men are ready. The boat has been inspected and the crew are about to take her to sea. It's an hour to go before the big moment, the rededication ceremony, where Superb is officially accepted back into the fleet. Guest of honour is Lady Philippa Williams, who launched the boat 25 years before. It's a ceremony that has changed little since the first Superb was captured from the French in 1710.
Parade! Stand up! Ace!
HMS Superb, rededication order by Admiral Sir Michael Boyce, Knight Commander of the Order of the Bath, Officer of the Order of the British Empire, Admiral in Her Majesty's Fleet, and Commander-in-Chief of Her Majesty's ships and vessels employed and to be employed in the fleet.
There have been 9 Superbs, each with its own history and folklore. Some exemplary in battle, some destined for peace duties. The present vessel is the first submarine to carry the name, but it carries more firepower than all its predecessors put together. She may sail under the motto, with sword and courage, but it takes courage to face hostility with the sword undrawn, and a special breed of men to crew her. Men of the trade, as they are known, and celebrated in Rudyard Kipling's poem. Their feats and fortunes and their fames are hidden from their nearest kin. But at this ceremony, the men and their families are far from hidden. It is a time of celebration for the return of Superb and the men of the trade.
May God the Father bless her.
Bless our ship!
May Jesus Christ bless her.
Bless our ship!
It's just a great day. It's an announcement, we're back.
The pennant flies proudly and signals that Superb is ready to do her duty. For the crew, there's a last week for the domestic life, and then men like Phil Doc McGonagall will sail for no one knows how long.
You don't really get used to it, you know you're going to go, but you don't ever want to go back. It's always a big thing at the end of your leave, for both Kate and myself, for it to, like a big thing hanging over us that in a week's time, then we'll be separated again from now till Christmas. We're at sea for most of the time, really. So from now till then, it'll be, most of the time going to be away. I'll get home probably twice, possibly 3 times, if I'm lucky. So come here, bud.
For wife Kate, the final days are as stressful as any in married life.
Since almost the day he came home, really, you sort of count down. It's like counting up to Christmas when you're a kid. You're marking off the days on the calendar almost, and as time goes by, I get more and more stressed about it, and more sort of het up and jumpy, and perhaps my temper gets short, and I don't know, it's just a horrible feeling. You're just wishing 3 weeks of your life away, really, when you should be spending 3 weeks enjoying time together. But I hope we have, I just feel time runs out so quickly.
Time together is precious. In 2 years of marriage, the longest period, leading hand Jamie Sowden from Penzance and his wife Mandy have spent together is 5 weeks.
Well, we haven't been married for very long, so I haven't really had that long at it to sort of really say what married life is like, especially as he's away, obviously so much at the moment. So fingers crossed in the future it'll be more like married life rather than him being 600 miles away, really. I think about the most, we haven't spoken to each other or any contact about a month. I get quite worked up beforehand, more so, the last phone call, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you, all this. I don't know if everyone else does that, but I do. And when I said that, I didn't mean it, and all this, you start sort of like your last words for that sort of length of time. I really hate that bit. I will definitely cry every time if I'm at work or whatever. Sort of it's quite hard to sort of like be normal and casual. We're not going to speak to your husband for like quite a while. No, I don't do that. I don't do normal.
Every week she cries when I leave. It's like no exceptions every week. So I don't think she'll ever get used to it. She may put up with it, but I don't think I want her to get, to ever get used to it. I mean, I think because then the magic's gone and it's sort of, people start getting independent of each other, and I don't want that to happen. So.
I hope not. You better write to me sometimes. It is upsetting for me. As I say, we haven't been together that long, so it's not like, we're fed up of each other, we're bored of each other. We're sort of very much in love and we want to be together, really. Oh.
Piece by piece, step by step, the separate elements that make up a crew are coming together. Some come from Scotland, some from the southwest, some from Portsmouth and Hampshire. Service life takes its toll on relationships. Ships away at sea, postings abroad for many months, don't provide the continuity that married couples need. Commander John Humphreys is of two minds about leaving shore for the sea.
No idea. You have to have staff for this sort of thing, but in today's modern Royal Navy, you have to hump your own kit.
He has the worries of a recent split with his wife and wants to bury himself in work, but there are 3 children he's leaving behind.
Morning.
While Superb was alongside, the loved ones had, at least, a small sense of security. Now that she's going to sea, even that will disappear.
I mean, I know we're not allowed to know where they go, and I don't anyway, but I mean, it's just the fact that you can only send, you've only got 4 familygrams, which is 20 words on it, and after you've put P.O. writer, Asprey, love you, miss you, house fine, I'm fine, you just don't know what else to say, and plus you don't hear anything from them at all from the time they leave to the day they get back, so it is just constantly worrying whether basically he's okay.
For many of the crew, living away from the office, like Keith Asprey, can mean a 10-hour car drive from Plymouth to Scotland. And for wives like Sherry, it heightens the sense of isolation. John Humphreys, on the other hand, lives almost on top of the shop, but that can mean he's always on call.
The escort's parked just down there in the do not park here zone for the crane.
I'll go and get myself rogered by a mod policeman for having it parked in the wrong place.
Well, as long as it's not on camera, you'll be all right.
Yeah. That goes back to Jerry Connor, presumably.
Yeah, it's the SRG escort.
Okay, sir.
All right. Jolly nice, thank you very much.
What's up?
Must mean we're going to sea, does it?
Means we're going to sea, sir.
Oh, marvellous.
Keith Asprey and Dave Perrin are mates and share the driving. For Gail Perrin and her children, the next few months are going to be a test. They don't know when they'll see him again.
Right. Bye-bye. Bye, Mike. Say bye-bye.
Give us a ring when you get there.
Yep. If it's after 11 o'clock, I'll just let the phone ring twice. Before 11 o'clock, you pick it up. Is that fun? Right, take care. I'll see you in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 5 weeks.
Yeah, right.
You all right with that? Okay.
Bye. Say bye-bye.
Gail is the rock on which the young family is based, but she admits that she's not as tough as everyone thinks, and that includes her husband.
See you then, Gail.
Bye.
In the early days, when Dave was away, I'd lay in bed at night and I'd listen to every noise, every creak, thinking that there was somebody in the house.
We're gone. We're gone.
But now I don't. I just go to bed, I go straight to sleep. I don't even think about it now.
Can you get someone to bring it down for me?
Super B is ready, and the captain and the crew have to be ready too.
It's very, very exciting. In fact, it's probably the most excited I have ever been in taking a submarine to sea, because this is, my work, if you like, our work. The sense of relief getting out of here is going to be enormous.
If the sense of relief is enormous, so is the payload. A third of all this has to be crammed into HMS Superb.
What you can actually see here is one ship and 2 submarines outfits in here, and ours actually includes one whole rack with 2 sides on it, and that's how many items the stores will be going on board HMS Superb. There is around about at the moment 14,000 line items. That's separate types of items, and within that you could maybe have up to 100 to 150 of those. When you actually see it off the boat, it is quite surprising because you can't believe that it'll actually fit on board.
Provisions for 125 officers and men. It's an order any supermarket would love. It's not just the army that marches on its stomach.
We have 3 stores on board, 1, 2 and 3 store, funnily enough, and we have the freezer and the cool room. This is number 3 store, this is our biggest store. This is where we would store the bulk of our dry produce, i.e. stuff that you can see around us now, stuff that we would use on a daily basis. Number 1 store, which is a smaller store, and we would have our emergency provisions in there, which is basically a 7-day menu. Should we run out of food, and then the captain can say to me, right, we've got 7 days emergency menu, we can stay for those 7 days on dry produce only. That's not including fresh or frozen, because obviously you'd run out of fresh by this point. And when we're carrying a warlord, you wouldn't be sitting in here now. I mean, it would be literally to that hatch, and we have to produce what we call a fallout menu, which is exactly what it is. It's whatever falls out the stores we put on the menu.
After 3.5 years, Superb is going to sea.
Right, George, that's your lot.
On the day of the new Superb's first sailing, the Scottish weather clags in as the Rosyth tugs fuss about, making sure that all is safe for their charge to take to the waters of the Firth of Forth. The skipper is keen. It's been a long wait. There is an air of expectancy amongst all the crew. With some hours to go, the preparations are nearing fever pitch. This is what the submariners signed up for, what they train for, and what they get paid for. They want to make sure that Superb gives a good account of herself to those standing in the drizzle on shore. This is the cruise boat, and they want to be proud of her and make everyone else proud too.
This is about the only time a submarine will sail when everybody wants to go to sea. There are normally 1 or 2 who are going to miss the kids or whatever, but getting out of Rosyth, achieving the end of refit is a monster, and everybody wants to do it. And I don't know whether you've detected it, but there is an excitement out there.
Okay, before we start, this is the first of many briefs we shall do together, and let me give you a couple of points of philosophy. The people sitting here are here because they have a contribution to make. So at the appropriate time, when your comments and thoughts are asked for, feel free to make them. One or other of you may spot the only thing that everybody else has forgotten. All right? So the purpose of the brief is to discuss what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, and to pool our experience. We have not been to sea together ever before. Okay, so we have got to be thinking. All right? Right, carry on, please.
Anybody with personal gear to be taken to first mate, you have until 12:45 to get it on the lorry on the jetty. That's all.
Sailing time is getting ever nearer, and there is still a lot to do. Everyone is moving around at the same time. Space is at a premium.
Nelly Warren.
Good afternoon. This is the leaving harbour for Rosyth and the anchoring brief for 29th, 5th, 98. All times are Zulu. Comms will be channel 71 for 4th nav, channel 13 for the tugs, and channel 16 is QHM.
Leaving dockside, even for someone with years of experience, is a nerve-wracking time. In a virtually rebuilt boat, it is doubly so. Ahead lies a 3-day surface passage around the tip of Scotland to Faslane. A pilot will be on board when she slips her moorings, who knows the waters, notorious waters at the best of time. And this is with a crew that has never sailed together and in a boat that has not been outside the dock gates for 3.5 years.
So using the head mark rather than the stern mark on that leg.
Yeah. Moving over from the 144
The first obstacle is a bridge, a big one, the 4th rail bridge. It's a narrow passage between the spans, and John Humphreys is already thinking about what could go wrong.
If push comes to shove and I start careering towards the bridge, you can stop me, can you?
Well, what we'll do is we'll keep the 2 tugs on the starboard side. I mean, the worst scenario is that we'd need the tugs. You could stop and get the tugs to make a turn on that first leg through the bridges. But I mean, I don't see the necessity of that. But I mean, the tugs can push on. I'll keep them on the starboard side of the submarine to turn you if things go wrong.
The worst case scenario is a throttle jammed full open, isn't it? Or if I test a stern propulsion, jammed full open, go backwards.
I don't think it'd make any difference at all. No.
Fine, thank you.
The point I forgot to mention was the fact that the pilot will be disembarking the pilot before we get to Oxcars. That's great.
You want to get off?
Please.
I don't need the man, never mind.
Right.
Going at the right time.
Thank you very much. Come and have a chat when the water is cleared. Thank you.
Ultimately, it will be the skipper's responsibility to get Superb safely out of dock and into the Firth without hitting anything. Their lordships in the Admiralty will not be pleased if there was a scratch on their expensive submarine. With all the planning and preparation and help, you might think that it would be no more difficult than backing a newly restored car out of the family garage, albeit a 4,200-ton car. John Humphreys thinks not.
Well, in theory, it's dead easy. You just strap some tugs onto the side and you pull her off the wall, swing her out, line her up for the entrance to the basin, open the cassoon, and you drive out. But it's not like driving a car out of a garage, because the thing goes sideways in the wind, and you've got, if the tugs equate to the wheels on your car, well, you haven't got a wheel on each corner. You've got 2 on one side and 1 at the back and 1 somewhere else sometimes. So it's a question of balancing the forces in moving the boat, and the really dodgy bit is going through the entrance gate, because we really can't afford to hit anything. I mean, the hull, when doing damage to the hull, we won't be moving that fast, but we're quite a delicate wee flower. We don't want to knock anything off. So once we're out of the entrance, that's the difficult bit over. The skill is in the handling of the tugs, and luckily the pilot does that.
Superb severing of her ties with the land is one thing, but for the crew on board there's now a severing of ties with those nearest and dearest to them.
You cry a lot to yourself, but then when I speak to him on the phone, if I'm able to, then he would never know that, really. I mean, he would never detect that, because it's either after that or before that, or it's, you know, you do it to yourself, you don't admit it to anybody. I mean, even to my parents, they don't. Or they don't understand, but they don't know, you know, how upset people get and how upset I get.
A sailor who says he doesn't suffer homesickness is being economical with the truth. It's an occupational hazard. And it never gets better, no matter how many times you sail away, according to Reggie Perrin.
Homesickness is a big thing suffered by servicemen. I go away to sea, and after about 2 weeks, that's when it hits me, and it lasts about 5 days normally. Once I finish my watch on board, I just want to go and be away from everyone and just think about home. I've done that so many times now, I shouldn't do it, but you can't help it. You just can't help. Homesickness is a big thing.
Every service family, men and women, cope differently. Every man on board has, on this first day, work to do, and there's little time to think of home life. For the wives, it's different. Sherry Asprey prepares herself every time Keith goes to sea, but there's always some pain.
The day he goes back is really bad, because I know that he's going and I'm not sure when he's coming home, and it doesn't get any easier. I think it does get harder, but you cope with it every time they come home, and every time they leave you cope with it in different ways every time, I think.
It's one of those tales of the sea. For sailors, a ship is a mistress, expensive, not always faithful, and at times temperamental.
Superb is, she's a woman, with all the vagaries that entails. In particular, having come out of Rosyth, done the refit, having spent 200 million, this Swiftsure class submarine is at the peak of her fitness. I got up this morning and it was blowing a hooligan, and that's over in Faslane. I actually live in Helensburgh. And I thought, okay, the weather's doing that. There's a northeasterly over here. With a bit of luck, it might be a southerly over there. And as I drove over this morning, it wasn't. It's still a northeasterly. It's blowing up to 20 knots. So as we go from here, out of the Firth, turn left to go north, we'll start rolling like a pig. All the way up to the Pentland Firth, and then we'll turn 90 degrees left and we'll roll like a pig all the way across the top of Scotland. So what does it mean? It means we're all going to be sick.
And for some, the rolling of a submarine is worse than for others, even the dock.
I am the worst on board, much to the delight of many of the ship's company, including the captain. I can be frequently seen on the surface in the control room vomiting into a bucket, which puts a lot of other people off, but it's just part of the job, I'm afraid. There's not a lot I can do. Fortunately, we're not on the surface that often, so it's not too bad. But when we are, 99 times out of 100, I'll be the first to be sick here.
The first brief passage is the start. On the surface all the way, no dives. That comes later. In the next 12 months, there will be tests to depth, more workups for the crew and weapons testing. They will take the submarine and its crew far out into the North Atlantic and to the warmer waters of the Mediterranean. But this trip will always be remembered by those on board. It signifies the return of HMS Superb from the unnatural home in a dockyard to the element she is designed for, the sea. Superb, faults and all, is now their home, and over the next months they will face some of the toughest tests they've ever undergone. But now they believe that the hunter-killer is up to anything that's thrown at them. For the skipper, it's the culmination of everything he's worked for in the Navy.
The previous two commands I've had, I've walked into a boat that was already running. I've taken over somebody else's system, if you like, sat down in his chair and then progressively modified things during my time on board. With this boat, the product, the way the people operate, the way the boat runs, work ethic, how we approach problems, comes from my organisation.
Stainless to line, indicates run.
And stands or falls on my organisation. So it's much more of a challenge for me. Bringing the boat out, taking it to sea for the first time in 3.5 years, wondering whether the bloody thing will work properly. Will I get under the bridge without hitting it? Get out to sea, make it work, and then start to show people how good a product the boat actually was. That was exciting. Going to sea in command is the only way to go to sea, in my view anyway, but that was a special moment.
Next week in Submarine, Superb takes her first diving test.
Investigate bearing the contacts of 010.
Anxiety on the home front. The first weapons are fired, and the Sea Riders arrive.